like out there in the world.
Do you understand our music?
You are now tuning in to another episode of Gnosian Music Edition, where we venture into the secret corners of the world in search for the unknown artists to hear their music and their story.
That's the beauty of music. They can't get that from you.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Gnosian Journals. This is actually part 2 of a 2-part series that I did with Carlos Ordiano. So if you haven't done so, make sure to check out part 1 of Carlos Ordiano. That way you could jump into this one and listen to the rest of the conversation and performances. With that being said, let's go back into the interview. And we're back. We had a little bit of a weeder problem, but I think we took everything under control now. All right, so where did we leave off? We left off with talking about the different styles and the differences between salsa and merengue. Mm-hmm. No, not merengue, but
merengue.
Yeah, actually, can you do that real quick? Can you just give us a quick recap? A few measures. Say cumbia, salsa, merengue, bolero, jazz.
All right. Okay. So, Eric is working on some cumbias too, some covers. Patricia, was it, or?
Patricia.
Patricia.
Yeah.
So is that the one in G minor?
That's in G minor.
Okay. Cumbia. And if you want to add a little bit of swag. And let's say I want to do the same thing, but let's say, let's change it to merengue. Like, okay, cool. How about you want to do it like jazz? Pop, like I don't know, like a funk thing.
Pretty much the melody will work above any of these.
Yeah, if we're looking for a different style or we're experimenting with fusing different styles.
That's really, really cool. So, you're doing all your arranging and you're performing. What are some of the projects that you're working on right now?
One project it's pretty much done, but the singles are being released. A friend of mine named Estani is a great singer-songwriter. And she asked me to arrange one of her songs, or a couple of her songs. So the album is called Droughts in the Ocean. And I arranged 3 or 4 of the songs on the album. It's about 3 years ago, so that album has been in the works. Not consistently on and off, but for the last 3 years we've been working on it. And it's finally come to making videos and releasing singles, and she had some songs that she had already produced, but she wanted to redo them in a different style, like the way she had imagined, with horns and with a lot of R&B elements. Originally, some of them were produced more electronic, so she asked me to change it up a little bit. And you can find her on Spotify and iTunes. Look for Estani. One of the singles is called Droughts in the Ocean.
So these are her songs. You're just arranging the music for her.
And yeah, I'm also co-writer. She gave me co-writing credit because that's how much
you've been working with her.
She felt that because I've put so much into it that she helped. And there's a couple of songs that I get split with other writers as well, but on some of the songs we co-wrote.
Cool. Well, and I've heard these songs, but
the music is not really. It's not Latin jazz. It's not jazz. It's not.
It's
a
completely
lot of it. I
different.
mean, she does have those, but it's more pop, and so you also work on that style of music. So it's not just strictly Latin or jazz.
Yeah,
you actually expand it to just anything that comes in.
Pretty much, but I have experience with that music. When I was in my early 20s, I played with this band called Papa Hip 2, and that was led by David Ramirez. He's a drummer, and we had a great horn section. It was Bijan Watson, Budi Winarto, and Flaviano Estrella, and I was able to write pretty much anything I wanted, and they would work on it and practice it. We practiced a lot. That was a really good band, and that I was writing like and transcribing like Earth, Wind and Fire, Gap Band.
So there was a very diverse.
Well, it was completely different. It wasn't salsa. It wasn't jazz. It was like a fusion of funk. Well, it was funk. It was funk music. So we played like Gap Band. We played
So you never just said I'm just gonna do this. For example, there are. I'm actually a good example. There's a lot of music that I just never got curious enough to actually learn. I mean, I'll dabble with it at home and I'll practice it for fun, but I never went out and actually performed it. I was never into it, so I just didn't do it. You actually were curious enough, and you were just music is music, so you just played whatever came your way, or
a lot of opportunities have been that way. Like, we're starting a jazz band. Well, fortunately for me, that was what I was working on. But jazz opened a door for a lot of different venues because it's probably one of the hardest musics. It's probably a hard genre to play, and I'm no master by any means, but I have a really good understanding of what it takes to be a jazz musician, and I still got a long way to go. But in having that as my goal, or the
your bar, like
my bar,
raising the
exactly.
bar that
That's the
high.
word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Having set that as the bar, everything else that stems from that is within my grasp, because it's not that it's any less, it's just different. And that music is jazz is kind of like the root of everything.
Yeah. Okay. So
Or blues actually is blues is, but jazz just took it to a more
sophisticated,
more art.
You could say, maybe not
more of an art
sophisticated,
form.
This interlude is brought to you by Kronos and Kairos. Here is Carlos Ordiano performing his own original work, Stalwart. Enjoy.
Stalwart.
with all these diverse styles of music that you perform, growing up, who were some of your inspirations? What musicians or composers, and what people today inspire you?
Okay. Charlie Parker was a huge influence. His harmonic language and his dexterity and mastery of his instrument was inspiring, and I just obsessed and was like, man, I want to play like Charlie Parker. And that I was practice 6 hours a day, not every day, but four days out of the week probably I would spend that much time.
And I do want to talk about practice in a minute, so I'll keep that in mind.
Okay.
Keep going.
Yeah, so that was my goal and fell very short, but I understand and appreciate what it is he did, like Dizzy Gillespie, Bud Powell. Bud Powell was a
and
huge
these were
influence.
a huge influence
when
you were young.
Yeah.
And how
Duke
about
Ellington.
now? I mean, are there any people now that you look into now, or
There are, but a lot of them have a lot of the same influences that I did. Like they look back to what I find inspiring. They also find inspiring. So I kind of understand where they're coming from. Like Nicholas Payton, I like a lot. He's a trumpet player.
Mhm.
So
yeah, because sometimes I mean, growing up, I remember being inspired by Segovia, Paco de Lucia, these flamenco and classical guitarists, but I was into also rock and roll and into a lot of Elvis. This is back when I was 12, 13 up to like maybe 16. But then as I got older and I performed more, the people that inspired me were actually people that I played with. It wasn't anymore the people that I saw on TV or that I heard on records. It was the people that were around me.
wow.
So now it's like
That's
the people
cool.
that I get inspired from. It's people like you.
Thank you.
People that I'm surrounded by.
Oh, that's nice. Cool.
And not necessarily the pop singer that's world famous. Is that something that you kind of noticed in you too, that you feel sometimes?
Yeah, I'm lucky to work like with a lot of talented and creative people, and yeah, I understand what you mean. Like to be around people that inspire you, that they spend time working on songs, producing music, and just putting their stuff out there. I struggle with that because I like the creative process so much. That's all I want to do. I just want to compose and write and play.
Yeah.
But there's another element to doing that, which is what I struggle with, is producing, like recording my personal things, my own project, like recording it, mixing it, mastering it, and then beginning the pushing of the song, the promotion,
Yeah.
the getting reviews, and
which is one of the hardest things for musicians. I mean, we're usually good at making art.
Right.
We're not really good at promoting it.
Right. And my friend, she works on that just as hard as her craft, and it shows because her music is spreading, and it's like people are listening to it, and she makes me realize that what good is it to make all this cool stuff if nobody listens to it?
Yeah, that's true, and it's tricky though, because I think there are two schools of thought here. There are those people that think, the art itself, if it's good enough, it's gonna get noticed. But as you get older, you think, that ain't necessarily the case. Where I think it's like, yes, your product has to be great, but really your promotion has to be better. And sometimes that feels like that's the case.
Yeah. Those days are they're like so romantic. Like, oh, I'm only gonna do art, and it's gonna be what I do, and somebody's gonna come along and blow me up and put it out there for the world. And that time is a long time ago, because that rarely happens now.
Yeah. Well, we're just bombarded with musicians everywhere now. I mean, anybody could be a guitarist, anybody, a pianist. Yeah. Mediocre level and be out there. Just because of the web is what I mean.
Yeah, I mean it's so hard. You're like trying to stand out. You're a drop of salt water in the ocean.
Yeah. Cool. And so talking about all this music and practice that you were talking about earlier, what was your practice routine back then, and what is it like now? And are there any tips that you would give anybody out there?
Oh, know what it is you're working towards. Like if you're gonna have a performance, have your set and your transitions and stuff and what you're going to say in between kind of rehearsed already. The good advantage that we have now is that we're able to record ourselves, and in recording yourself you can see what it is you're actually doing as opposed to imagining what it is you're doing. So I can record a whole piece and then watch myself, which is really cool. But I'm also able to hear and see habits that I don't even know or that I'm not aware of that I do, or technique problems that I didn't think were there. But watching myself, you're in a different headspace watching yourself perform as to actually performing, because I feel that when I'm performing, I'm hyper aware. Mm-hmm. But when I'm watching myself perform, I'm like, oh, that wasn't so bad, or wow, that was really good, or oh, that needs work. Yeah. But when you're actually when it's actually happening, it's like, oh my God, this is wrong. Oh my God, nothing's ever right. It's always wrong. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. So you get into your head, and the cool thing about performing is that you're able to regulate at least for me, like, okay, stay calm, stay calm, stay calm.
Yeah, and again, it's different kind of practice between, I think, a classical musician, which is typically what I focus on, mm-hmm. from a jazz musician, because till the day I still focus a lot on technique. Uh-huh. It's technique. It's always in like the forefront of my mind. Yeah. Is that something you think about too often, or is it more just the music that comes with it, the improvisation?
It's a combination. Like, I think technique allows for improvisation, but improvising is actually the goal. Like, to be able to hear something or actually imagine something and to make it come out on your instrument in real time is a lifelong process. Just to be able to come up with a melody and be able to play the right melody that you are imagining, and for it to happen in time while you're creating it and it's coming out. So it should be like speaking.
The bigger your vocabulary.
The bigger your vocabulary is, the more eloquent you're going to sound.
You're going to sound, yeah.
So being able to have good technique or great technique is going to facilitate that. But then you also need the component of creativity and improvising and being able to express what it is you're hearing and being able to execute it. I think that's really fun and really cool. So I like to be in that space.
Yeah, and in your practice, I mean, do you practice certain hours a day, or are you at a point where it's like, I'm too busy, I'll practice music when I'm actually writing something or when I'm getting ready for a gig?
Yeah, it's usually when I'm getting ready for a gig, because especially when I need to memorize stuff, I need to spend more time playing it, because memorizing now requires more energy on my part, because
as you're getting older, or
it's because I'm so used to reading the music that I never I just relied on the music. So like, I can look at a sheet of music and say, oh, okay, I know what to do. Yeah. But memorizing the music now takes work, because I have to sit and play it till it becomes muscle memory.
Yeah, no, I understand that part. Cool. And so, any last words before we're done for today?
Surround yourself with people that complement what you do, like that can do what you can, but better, or complement what it is you're doing, so that you can become a more well-rounded person, so that you understand and you're able to actually pick their brain and see, oh, I can do this by doing that. I think that takes some kind of effort, because you're not always going to get along with everyone, but you have to, like, you don't have to be being mean or anything, but if you stay positive and surround yourself with people that are constantly developing themselves, you're going to be in good company, because you can ask, well, what are you working on? Well, how do you do that? Or why do you do that? Or how can I do that? And if they're cool, they'll tell you, and if they're not, they'll just say, Google it.
Yeah. All right, just a few questions. So, favorite booze?
Booze? Beer. Cold beer.
Straight cold beer. Nice. Favorite food?
All food, warm food, cold food.
You eat it?
I'll eat it, pretty much.
Composer. Classical and jazz.
Oh my God. Jazz, I would say Duke Ellington. And God, yeah. Duke, actually Herbie Hancock, he's a great writer.
Yeah. Classical.
Debussy.
Debussy.
Actually, and Chopin.
Debussy and Chopin.
Yeah.
Cool. Latin composer.
Even though he's not Latin, Cal Jader. I mean, Claire Fisher.
Claire Fisher. I don't know what that is.
Claire Fisher, he's a pianist.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
passed away already.
Okay.
But I did get to meet him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
What is Latin? Actually, I don't know his name, but like a lot of the arrangers that did a lot of stuff for Benny Moré, I really like. I need to look into that. But Benny Moré, he's a singer, but everything that band played for him is like is so so like inspiring. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It surrounds his voice and makes him sound great.
Cool. Last question. Wisdom or youth?
Wisdom.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right, everyone. That's Carlos Ordiano. Do you want to finish up with a little bit of a riff there?
Oh. Sounded like first time I was afraid. Let me not do that. All right. Okay, here we go. Last little
Carlos Ordiano.
Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Gnosian Journals, and if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, if you could share this content, that would be fantastic. I'm trying to get the word out a little bit more, and I'm trying to get new musicians, more conversations going, and just trying to expose more of the talent that is around me. So with that being said, here is Carlos Ordiano with his other original work, Regalo. Enjoy.
Regalo.